In Pope Francis's homily last night in St. Peter's, he talked about the living and true God, which is a reference to Thessalonians, and that we have become flesh, or that God has become flesh, as in John chapter 1, verse 14. He says this word evokes our human frailty. The gospel uses this word to show us that God completely assumed our humanity. Why did he go to such lengths? Because he cares for us, because he loves us to the point that he considers us more precious than all else. God changed history. In the course of a census, you were not a number, instead you were a face. And he spoke in his homily about, he started off by talking about the census, which may or may not have happened. Let's face it. But the idea of a census, the idea of being counted by an occupying force, this should be very resonant to us today. The idea of being ordered around by foreigners. Your name is written on his heart. But if you look in your own heart and think of your own inadequacies and this world that is so judgmental and unforgiving, you may feel it difficult to celebrate this Christmas. You may think things are going badly or feel dissatisfied with your limitations, failings, problems, sins. Today, though, please let Jesus take the initiative. He says, for your sake I became flesh, for your sake I became just like you. So he says, why are we caught up in our own troubles, like the shepherds who left the flocks? Leave behind the prison of your sorrows, embrace the tender love of God who became a child. Put aside your masks and armors, cast your cares on him and he will take care of you, as it says in Psalms 55, verse 22. And what Pope Francis might have been talking about, he wasn't, but what he might have been talking about is the Orthodox concept of Theosis. And that really is the celebration of Christmas. In Catholic theology, Christmas is a very poor imitation of the Easter message. But in Orthodox theology, with the idea of Theosis, this is the feast that demonstrates God's commitment to humanity and the change that is wrought in creation by the incarnation itself. At the point of the incarnation, God becomes man, changing our humanity forever. So it doesn't matter whether we accept Christ or whether we don't. Our humanity is changed. God has given a new direction and has produced a new prototype that eclipses, that magnifies, that radiates the new Adam. So in the words of St. Athanasius of Alexandria, the Son of God became man, that man may become God. And in the second letter of St. Peter, chapter 1, verse 4 says, we have become partakers of divine nature. And St. Athanasius is reflecting on precisely that verse. He says, we are becoming by grace what God is by nature, in De Incarnatione. And we have no chance to make ourselves better. But God, through his grace, gives us the way forward. And we are, the whole of humanity, the whole of creation is changed by the incarnation. And that's the most extraordinary bit of Orthodox theology. And it's just a matter of our realizing, or our recognizing that change in ourselves, in the world around us, that potential for perfection that we can now make our goal. So Christ says, Be perfect as your Heavenly Father is perfect. He recognizes no one is perfect but God alone, but that's where the idea of perfection comes from. So our goal in everyday life, our goal must be to do the best, to be the best. And we can recognize that we often fail. We always fail, but we must pick ourselves up and keep going. And that is the nature of our life. We can't let our own failures get in the way of our calling, and our calling is to be perfect. That is our mission in life now. Our mission in life is to be perfect in everything, in every part of our being, in every part of our daily life, in politics, in art, in literature, in music, and in prayer. Mother Teresa was asked, how do you pray? You pray by praying. Prayer is one of those things that you just do, like speaking, like walking. You fall over a few times, but in the end you don't think about it, you just do it. And pray unceasingly. And the Orthodox, again, have an idea about that. They talk about the Jesus prayer, this prayer which is eventually, through practice, it's got the rhythm of breathing. So in the end, the words can be abandoned because your breathing itself is the rhythm of prayer. And I think when you're most anxious, the most important thing to do is to breathe. And that's prayer. Because breath itself has now been divinized through the principle of theosis, through this idea of the incarnation, through the theology put forward by St. Athanasius, through theosis. Theosis lies at the center of the incarnation, lies at the center of Christmas. That's the feast we're celebrating. And the idea of potential, the idea of a change in our lives, this is shared by everybody. It doesn't matter what their belief is. The idea, you don't need to believe in Christianity to share in the changed life, to share in this life where we can set our goals at perfection. And even if we have setbacks, we can keep looking towards perfection in all aspects of our life.